All right, welcome to the show. Longtime U.S. diplomat in the Republican Party, currently working on peace negotiations with Serbia and Kosovo, Rick Grenell. Rick, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, we appreciate having you. First question, though, are you in Kosovo quarantined or are you in the U.S.? Because you might have a preference there. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm in the U.S. Most of the stuff, like everybody else, is being done by Zoom or phone calls. Modern day diplomacy. You can talk to people without being in front of them.
Well, that's pretty nice. Pretty nice. You've served a lot of different posts in your time working as a diplomat. Germany, other parts of Europe. What's been your favorite place? And can you give us a little background about what you've done in your career?
You know, my favorite job in the whole world that I've ever had is I was the spokesman for the mayor of San Diego.
Oh,
and
nice.
you know, it's such a cool job because you don't have to explain to anyone ever what a mayor does. Everybody knows exactly what the mayor does. And it's the intersection of concerts and restaurants and zoning.
Bros. Like
Yeah.
what possibly could you have to say that would be hard being the spokesperson for the mayor of San Diego? You know, it's like, hey,
we
bro.
We had to redevelop the downtown area and then pick either the Chargers or the Padres to move downtown at the time. This was in the late 90s.
No sleep.
That was
sleep
difficult.
on that decision. Shit,
Yeah.
Rick.
You think San Diego's still reeling from the Chargers, though?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
What kind of a city wants to lose a sports team? You know,
Yeah, it sucks.
But
Do
they
you
were
still
the
pull for the?
Chargers.
Do you still root for the Chargers, or are you a Chargers fan? I mean,
I'm actually a
Southern
Padres
California.
fan because they moved downtown and they took the deal.
Right, I knew.
There you
I
go.
knew the Padres were the ones that got the move. There.
Boom. Roasted
Did you ever meet
Chargers.
Tony
Hey,
Gwynn?
here's a little news, guys. Though in the late 90s, the mayor at the time first offered the Chargers to move downtown in that stadium and to build a stadium, and they said,
Okay.
no, we don't want to be downtown. We want to be in Mission Valley. They chose not to do it, and then we started negotiating with the Padres. The Padres ended up going to the World Series that year against the Yankees.
Oh yeah.
And of course, everybody was so excited about the Padres, they voted for the bond measure and built the stadium.
Wow. Yeah. And as
I mean,
we know,
The
Phillip
Chargers
Rivers
ended
has
up
never
paying for
won.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Phillips Rivers never won a championship, did he?
No, and they ended up in a pretty bad stadium in the end. Well, I mean, I guess they're about to have one, maybe, but weren't they
We'll
playing
see.
like a
They
high
play
school
it like-
stadium?
No, they play at like LA's Community College Stadium right now. The
Something
Chargers
along
do.
those lines, right?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. It's
Padres
Santa
got the better
Monica
end of that
City
deal.
College is where they play.
Historically, LA's been real good to the NFL in terms of attendance, so it should work out fine.
Hey, Rick, so you were the acting director of national intelligence, is that correct?
Yeah, top spy.
Man, that's
Wow.
crazy, man. Were
Yeah.
you stoked? Were your folks proud of you? I mean, like when you come home with it, you're swinging that job title around. They're like, man, we did good.
I don't know. My mom was a little bit nervous about everything, but
Well, why should she, Rick? Is there a deep state?
good question. I will tell you this. In my experience in working at the State Department for 11 years and working at DNI and meeting all sorts of career officials, the career officials are really annoyed with the leakers and really annoyed with the people who are not committed to doing their job. By far, the majority of people want to do their job, but there is this little element of people who clearly can't handle having a person in the White House that they don't agree with. And so, they leak against them and they try to do everything they can to stop that policy. I find it to be the Washington way, and it's really ridiculous.
But that's what
because
the mooch came in to clean up. And the mooch, I mean,
He didn't stay
Anthony
long
Scaramucci, friend
enough.
of the show, he was going to do some serious swamp draining with those
He
leakers.
drained the swamp from inside the swamp.
And then 9 days later, what happened? Did the leakers is it impossible to get the leakers out of there? Because we grew up in DC, we have friends and family members that work for the intelligence community. It's very anti-intelligence community to be loose-lipped. Is that correct?
Yeah,
At least
what's the saying from back home in DC? Isn't it you can take the people out of the swamp, but you can't take the swamp out of the swamp? Isn't that it?
Hey, look, I think you're onto something here. Is that that's my point about the career people. who I've had actually career intelligence officials say to me, this is our entire existence of who we are, which is to keep secrets. And yet we can't keep secrets, and we keep leaking because we don't like something, or we leak raw intelligence, which is worse. Look, we also have politicians who decide to fan the flames and play the game.
Right.
And
I was going to say, is that just because of how politicized everything's gotten during this last few years, and now everybody's just like, everybody's losing it and just, you know, doing shit that they normally wouldn't do?
well, I think, yes, I do think that, but I think that's across the board Washington. I mean, you look at, like, you know, not to get too partisan here, but Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they've been there for more than 40 years each. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to have somebody who's been in the job for 40 years say, I'm going to clean it up, or here's the problem. I mean, if they know the problem, shouldn't they have solved the problem already?
Good pensions, probably, though.
You're saying because that's their rhetoric. Their rhetoric is we're going to clean
Yeah.
it up. Whereas like the Mitch McConnells are just saying, I'm just holding on.
I think
Look,
there's
I think
people on all sides for sure. Yeah.
Correct. No, I don't. I think you're hitting on something very true, which is that we no longer have a problem in Washington that is Republican versus Democrat. It's Washington versus the rest of the country.
That's
And-
good one.
And I have to tell you, I think that Bernie Sanders is touching on this. I think Elizabeth Warren touches on this. Certainly Donald Trump touches on this. But the people who aren't of Washington, even though Bernie Sanders has been there forever, he's done a good job of saying, look, this place is a mess. This place protects itself. They've got lobbyists, they get paid. All the people who like the rules of Washington, who are getting paid, who like the backroom deals and all of that, they don't want the place to change because they're really benefiting. Every time we have an economy that goes down, what happens in Washington? Washington goes up. People buy, you know, bigger homes, and they're every time you go to Washington, there's a new construction project going on.
Rick, not to mention the best happy hours in town and the best call girls in town.
100.
Yeah, and government people can tend to be a little too proud of how it's recession proof. I think.
Yeah, totally.
Top
Rick-
Spy is really, really cool. How the hell do you get that job? Do you have to like kill someone with like a paper clip? Like, I don't understand.
Is there a test?
Yeah, what's the test to get
I'll tell
that?
you how you get the job in a Donald Trump administration. You don't ask for it. He is the type that, you know, desperation is the worst smelling cologne. When you really want something and you're pushing hard with him, he's thinking you got an ulterior motive. He likes to kind of think, you know, hey, this guy would be good in this position, and surprise you. And I actually like it. I like the way he thinks. I like the way he pushes when you brief him, because he doesn't let you just go down this road of briefing him normally. It's always like a meandering question and pushing, and you got to know your stuff.
From the interviews, you'd assume it would go that way.
That's interesting. That's what John McAfee touched on when we interviewed him, and that's also how we've talked about recently how George Washington was not. He was like, he didn't campaign for the job, right? And McAfee was like, maybe you should get people that don't.
Elections are better than elections.
Exactly.
His point. Taking it away from stuff going on at home, you were the acting director of national intelligence. Are aliens real? Can you tell us now?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to know something? That my biggest regret is because of COVID, I couldn't go to the secret places and check out all that.
Oh man.
Wait. So yeah. What we know about the computer? Well, first, are aliens real? Do you know?
I do know. I think this is all about the definition of alien, right? When I talk about a foreign alien, you're going to think of, you know, something from a movie.
Yes.
And if you remember that the government just classifies UFOs as, you know, they're unidentified,
right? It's just
flying,
the sky,
and it's some sort of an object. And so the problem always is that we're talking over each other. The government talks about UFOs and aliens as very real and questionable things, and yet the public immediately takes this and says, it's a little Martian with a little, you know, and that's not what we're saying.
So I do think that UFOs, you know, probably they exist, right, in some form or fashion, an unidentified flying object or whatever they're called now. But what about beings from a different planet that are smarter than us that could destroy us? Do they exist?
So now you're getting into classified information. I get to plead, sources and
Okay.
methods.
Yeah, okay,
All
that's
right,
fine. Well, hey, we know about the computer, right? The computer that you can it's like a Google with info about people. We know about it. What was the first thing you put
Is
in
that
that
the
computer?
NSA? Just that's
What did you
That
put in the computer?
Is
The
that the
whole
one that?
reason I'm on this show is because I've already checked you guys out. I already know.
Nice.
Well, we're
if you
trying
push
to.
back on me and create some sort of narrative, I can immediately type
you
your
crush
background
us.
Yeah,
information.
but we're open books. The Beeve.
Yeah, we
the
are
Beeve
open
is
books.
an open book, and so
We're
is Bill
just
Maher.
we're just fat and stupid. We have nothing to hide. Like,
Yeah.
But we're trying to
be
get the
sad
word
if you released
Yandex
our
to replace
information.
Google, as in like, hey, can
No.
you Yandex that? Because the Russian search engine Yandex. Have you come across this at all?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Don't-
what did you?
don't-
What was
don't
the
do
first
that.
thing you Yandexed in the computer though? What did you search?
I literally can't tell you, but I will tell
come
you that
on, Rick.
I will tell you that the beef was on that list, and I was able to get some information, so I wouldn't push it too far. Okay.
okay, well,
Okay.
this one should be a little bit easier. How worried should we be about TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
Look, here's the thing that I think about TikTok. It's a big problem, but it is in many ways it's almost too late. If you have it on your phone, it probably is prudent to get rid of it because it is any company that works in China has to play by the Chinese rules, and there are no rules. They decide, there's no rule of law, there's no pushback, and so it gets turned over to the Communist Party of China. Don't forget that. It's still, we have COVID. This is what, people go crazy when people are this blunt, but we have COVID because the Chinese Communist Party is so secret that they were not able to identify and shut this down, and they continued flights out of Wuhan into the rest of the world except for throughout China. And so this is the reality. People don't like to face the reality, but communist China's secrecy is a huge problem for America.
We just recently covered what's happening in Xinjiang with the Uyghur population. Do you have any thoughts on that? We were sort of shocked to read some of the reports about what's happening there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, some of the hardest meetings I've had in Europe is with the head of the Uyghurs in Europe, who came in to see me, and we had multiple meetings where they would explain what's going on and really show pictures. And a lot of this is, of course, we know, the Five Eyes know, and the reality is that the world kind of tends to look the other way. It's one of the reasons why when I was in Germany and Chancellor Merkel went over and took, 10 German CEOs to China on this big trade deal, at the same time that President Trump was trying to squeeze the Chinese into following the rules and getting back to paying attention to human rights. And the problem that we had is that the Europeans want trade deals. And so, Chancellor Merkel went over and in her opening speech didn't say anything about the human rights abuses in Hong Kong or Uyghurs or anything.
Wow.
And she had to have a question be pushed on this. And this is where I think Europe has got to catch up. They talk a big game about human rights, but many times they don't put their money where their mouth is.
I see
Agreed.
that Howley is filing a bill for America, so maybe they can do something similar in Europe.
Yeah, it seems. I agree with you on that. What is Merkel like? Is she nice, or is she like firing people on the spot? I can't get a good read on her.
Yeah, I like her a lot, actually. She's quite funny.
Nice.
She's super serious. She's got a great handle on what's happening. Very knowledgeable, personable, approachable. I can't say enough nice things.
Is her
about
skin
her.
cold to the touch, or is it what?
Oh no, we're saying she's nice now.
She's a boss. There's no doubt about that.
There's a boss.
But she's
I think one
intimidating
of
as fuck.
Yeah, one of the problems I think that we have is that she sees the world very much like a Westerner. She's pro-West. She sees the problems, but then it kind of falls apart when her staff get it, and I can't quite figure out if her staff is stopping it or if that's the whole play from the beginning. I'll give you one example, and we'll make a little news here. Chancellor Merkel has told me multiple times that there's no reason why they couldn't look at visa liberalization for Kosovo. And they would start by doing specific industries, make it business, not just open it up completely, but start with targeted visas for certain sectors. And every time I would bring it up, she'd say, yeah, there's no reason we can't do that. And then she'd look at a staff member, and when I would follow up with a staff member, wouldn't go anywhere.
He did the finger across the throat. It was Hans. He was like, no.
Yeah. Well, lazy staff, not good. Hey, well, Mark, you want to finish your Merkel?
Well, it's sort of along those lines. We covered Germany. I was just wondering, with your experiences, if you were like at the UN, which is the coolest country to hang out with at lunch, and which is the country you don't want to eat lunch with?
Yeah, who's the smelly kid?
Yeah.
So I like to always answer questions the best I can. So I have to say that the best place to have lunch is always, and maybe it's just because I really like sushi, the Japanese ambassador's residence is always like,
oh, nice.
I mean,
sake too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And the worst place to have lunch is probably the American ambassador's residence, because we have so many rules on what you can do and who you can buy
Is
for.
it just McDonald's now? They Trump like push that down to all the.
Yeah. It's bad. We don't have the ability to play nice anymore.
Hey, Rick,
you don't have the koi pond. I get it.
What's your take on this whole Q situation? Because I want to know what the inside baseball is over there, and we're not Q guys.
Do you know who it is?
But who is Q? What
are
do
you
know
Q?
about Q?
Well, you're the top spy. You're either Q or you know who Q is.
I have no idea.
But what's your take
Seriously.
on the whole Q potentially being Trump or government insiders and?
To me, this is a total honest answer. I really don't pay any attention to it. It's not in my world. I have so many.
If you ever want to go down,
reality
is
so different than the conspiracy theories. So
Rick, there's a fly on your screen. It looks like it's going this way, and then it's going like that, and it's going. If you can just make this motion with your hand, and then that motion will be.
Come on, Rick.
That would be exactly what people would say.
Okay. Free Bieber.
All right.
Rick, you were the first. You're the first openly gay cabinet member in U.S. history. Was that a cool moment when you got that bestowed? Like, was that?
My attitude was like, how sad is this? It's 2020.
Right. Yeah. It seems like it's
good
been
point.
A long way.
And the second part of this whole thing is remember, there's a key word in this whole thing: openly.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Right.
Oh hell yeah!
Point, Rick.
I mean, come on. We've had so many like closeted gay cabinet officials. That would be a good game to do.
Well, we got some ideas. There's some rumblings. We wouldn't out anyone.
Well, who was the toe tapper guy? He wasn't a cabinet member, but he
wasn't.
We were in the.
He was just my toe accidentally signaled a hand job from under the other stall. What are the odds that I'm in this gay men's bathroom? Damn it! What was his name? I loved that guy.
He wasn't a cabinet official though.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It would be a fun game to play, and I think that you could probably go even higher than cabinet member, probably if you're going historically. But yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe. I do have to say though, it's pretty cool to, it wasn't that long ago when gays and lesbians couldn't be in the intel community because they weren't trusted. Matter of fact, in 1973, there's a video of Joe Biden saying that he doesn't trust gays and lesbians to be, okay with security clearances, that he didn't trust them.
Ouch.
And the reality is that in 1973, Joe Biden was a U.S. senator, so it's not like he was a private citizen. It was when he was in the Senate that he was questioning whether or not we could keep secrets as gays and lesbians. And so to all of a sudden have Donald Trump appoint the first openly gay head of Intel, that's pretty cool. And I have to say that the career officials within the intelligence community were extremely proud of that too. But I stand on the shoulders, not to be too corny, but I stand on the shoulders of so many people who worked hard and climbed and got knocked down and helped me along the way. So I'm certainly appreciative, and I'm going to turn back around and make sure we help others.
Good on you, Ray.
Love that.
The Beeve didn't get approved for security clearance, and I was curious if you had any idea why. No, I know. And I was honest about everything.
You should push back on that, because I think there's a lot of manipulation on these security clearances of people who, on the other side, the system denying certain people over silly stuff.
Agreed.
Fight
like
right.
like a 10-year heroin addiction, but you promise it's over.
I was honest.
But here's the thing: there's a huge inconsistency on this front for individuals who smoke marijuana and who admit it, and then those who smoke marijuana, they say they didn't, and then they get caught later. We're totally inconsistent on how we enforce this and who gets a security clearance. A whole bunch of people have been denied. I have a friend who was denied because, an ex-boyfriend came up and said some crazy stuff. And it wasn't true, but the investigator was like, oh, well, sounds like this person isn't trustworthy.
What sucks the worst is that crazy ex-boyfriend's plan worked to a T, and the investigator let it work to a T, which is something that we're very anti on this show, is crazy exes saying stuff about you that aren't true. We reward it on the other side. If a crazy ex comes up to us and says, hey, this person you're thinking about hiring is fucked up, we hire that person automatically.
Yeah, it should be good on you for getting out of that relationship. Smart move. Here's your clearance.
Yeah, exactly. You're in.
I'm actually with you.
So what is the top level of clearance? There's like several levels of top secret, right? Like there's secret, top secret. What's the highest level of clearance? Are you allowed to say?
We call it compartmentalized. So it's different compartmentalized access. So certain people, the certain number of people get certain compartments.
Okay.
Yeah. So not everybody gets the alien compartment, unfortunately, for that.
Correct. Very true.
I thought it was like levels of black belt, like 3rd degree, 4th degree, but I guess it's compartmentalized. That makes sense.
But it's the same concept.
Yeah.
But when you were the director, you had all compartments?
All.
Oh shit!
Oh fuck!
Listen, on my first day, I literally had to sign a stack of memos, basically granting myself all these access to all these different compartments. Yeah.
Is that like the first time that you come across like a high-speed porn internet website? Like just like, are we just like a kid in a candy store?
I have to say that it's pretty humbling for a kid from Western Michigan to all of a sudden be in charge of so much. And I felt like the national anthem was playing the whole time I was signing.
That's amazing. I hope you just played it on your phone. Like, wow.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I couldn't have my phone in the room.
Oh, really? It's that top secret.
Wow. How good are you with passwords? Like I usually use like the same 3 to 5 passwords, and I got to get better at that. But you must be pretty good at passwords.
Yeah,
you don't use like an exclamation point.
That is such an amazing question, because every single person in the federal government that has to deal with classified information struggles with this. We've got whole teams of people that do nothing but come back to you to say, okay, let's walk you through what your password was and what you said and try to help you get back on, because everybody forgets.
But then they're just like, but my dog's name and my daughter's birthday is this. So
it had to be one of those two. Yeah.
Hey, Rick, why
you
did
have to change it every 30 days?
Yeah,
imagine that.
Fuck that! I haven't changed mine in 6. Well, every 6 days.
But I know, but that's the problem. Well, it's like, so you have password managers, but a lot of people will just like save it to their local drive as a document called passwords or something. Yeah.
It's a violation to write it down.
So Rick, exactly. Rick, why did you resign exactly? Tell the people why you resigned.
From DNI?
Yeah.
So I took the job only as temporary. I did not want the job permanently. And so I was acting. And the way that I became acting was because I was a Senate confirmed for the U.S. ambassador to Germany. So you had to have a Senate confirmed person in the job to be acting.
Okay.
So I took the acting job, and I told the president, I'll do this as long as we nominate somebody permanently and we get somebody through right away, and that this is a priority, because I didn't want the job permanently. And we did. We settled on John Radcliffe right away. I took the job knowing that it would be him, and he got confirmed. So
that's good.
He got delayed a little bit because of COVID. So I thought I would do 3 months, and I ended up doing like more than 4 months.
Do you still get access to the compartments now that you've given up the role? Or...
I still have my top secret security clearance.
Oh, yes. Hell yeah, bro. So on your way,
And remember, listeners, it's not top secret. It's top secret something.
something.
I don't
Yeah.
have access to all the compartmentals, though.
You'll let us
Okay.
know if something's coming for us. Like
Yeah, that's
anything, right?
specifically it, Rick. Can you do a search on us? Well, I know
I've
you
already
did one on
told
the
you,
bees.
Beav. I told you I did a little bit of background work on you
And
already.
I don't want you to dig too deep there. It's really on the Mark and the Will side that I want you to check out. The Beav, there'll be a time when you get in there and you're
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
know
like
what?
you find.
This is a good point. You could provide information, even though we've all been friends for like 25 years. You could provide information that we could roast each other with. That are like
Wes is on the
yes.
show with us today, but his browser history, we've been trying to get that for a
Yes,
long time.
if you could send us individual
Check
information
your
on each other,
emails.
that's embarrassing.
Check your
Yeah.
emails.
Thank
Sorry.
So, Rick, on your way out, you criticized Mark Warner a little bit about not declassifying certain documents. What was that about? What documents did you want declassified?
Well, what I criticized Senator Warner about was his grandstanding, saying that I didn't coordinate with him to reform the intelligence community. At the same time, he's grandstanding and saying, "Oh, this Grenell, he won't coordinate with me. He's doing things on his own." Literally, I had a phone call with him to coordinate, and he canceled the phone call. And then when I asked to reschedule the call so that I could coordinate the reform with him, he refused to find another time to get on a call. So he literally ditched me and then took to the microphones to lambaste me for not coordinating with him. Now, look, this is the Washington way.
Well, technically, he's right. I mean, even though he ignored you completely, you didn't coordinate with him.
Oh, and Mark Warner is the most Washington. We grew up in the D.C.
What a
area,
move.
and he was our senator.
Yeah,
he was.
This is so typical of Washington, though. They say one thing and they do another. I mean, you got Adam Schiff who's out front, lambasting. Oh, I've seen Russian collusion. I can't tell you. This is really bad. And then meanwhile, you look at all the transcripts and every single person, Samantha Power, Susan Rice, all of these people are like, nope, didn't see anything, don't know anything, there's nothing there. And yet they go out in public and they say something different. Look, in where I come from in Southern California or Western Michigan, where I grew up, this is called a lie. And in Washington, it's called, boosting your career.
Politics. Gamesmanship.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Playing the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We like to make fun. We like to make fun of politicians' looks on this show. It's not real highbrow humor. But Adam Schiff
it's well
looks
thought
like
out.
it's well thought. Adam Schiff we think looks like the guy from the waiting room in Beetlejuice when he gets his head shrunk.
Yeah, remember?
Just
You're going to get me in trouble.
Just throwing that out there.
You didn't laugh. That was
Just
that
that was
you,
good. Yeah,
if you
Really
agree.
not laugh at
Yeah.
that.
With
on the
your
record.
fingers.
all good.
It's all good. Oh,
right.
shit.
I think
man.
you guys got any other questions?
I think
No.
that's it.
Appreciate your time, Rick. That was fun.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for what you guys do.
We really appreciate you coming
Thank
on.
you.
Thanks, brother.
Oh, yeah.